Has there ever been a phrase quite as misleading, quite so underselling of the talent required as digger driver? Describing an excavator operator as a digger driver is like describing Jeff Bezos as a bookshop owner, Lewis Hamilton as a car driver, or Steve Jobs as a phone salesman. Of course, at their core, all of those job titles are correct, but they fall a long way short of telling the whole story, much like the term digger driver. In construction, a digger driver probably does dig holes. In demolition, a digger driver uses a machine to carry out delicate deconstruction. But that's only part of the story, the thin end of the wedge, a tiny piece of a giant iceberg that is visible above the ocean's surface. A decent digger driver needs a fundamental understanding of the inner workings of his or her machine. They must know their way around the engine, transmission, and hydraulics. They must be able to carry out daily and weekly checks to keep that machine working to the very best of its ability. And they must be able to carry out minor repairs and part replacements without referring back to dealers or fitters. They need to appreciate the limitations of their machine in order to maximize productivity while minimizing fuel consumption and equipment wear and tear. They must monitor fuel and lubricant levels before either drop too low. In all likelihood, they'll probably need to do that for their colleagues as well. They'll be able to diagnose a machine fault by sight, sound, smell, or feel, and they will know precisely what to do about it. They need a fundamental understanding of health and safety constraints and considerations, together with a detailed understanding of the site-specific rules, regulations, and requirements. They need to locate and align both their machine and any supporting equipment to minimize machine movements. They need to organize attachments, having them close enough to facilitate fast changes, but far enough away to not be an obstacle or a hazard. In construction, they must be aware of ground conditions, geology, and levels. In demolition, they need a rudimentary understanding of structural engineering, allowing them to predict how a building or structure might behave while it's being demolished. In both instances, they need to be constantly aware of their surroundings, either with the aid of cameras but also through hawk-like peripheral vision. And they must be willing to adapt to machine, site, and technology changes, embracing and mastering new systems and new machines, learning them often in their own time in order to keep each site moving. Now, all of that can be taught. There are training courses designed precisely to impart all of that knowledge. YouTube is awash with instructional videos to help operators better understand their machine or to get more from it. And you can bet there is a costly competence card on offer too. But there is one skill that doesn't come from an operator manual, from a training course, or from a YouTube video. It's a skill that is rarely spoken about. It doesn't carry a competence card, and yet it might just be the most valuable skill in the digger driver's armory. Whether in demolition or construction, the excavator operator is the linchpin, the fulcrum, the glue that holds the site together. They are the conduit, the resilient, skillful midfielder through which all play flows. A site might have a project manager or a site supervisor to ensure that everyone is singing from the same hymn sheet, but the excavator operator is the conductor of the site, keeping the beat, setting the rhythm for the entire site orchestra. With a good digger driver on site, that orchestra is harmonious. Without them, a site is discordant, out of time, and out of tune. It's their skill, intuition, and experience that keeps the project moving efficiently. A good operator can shave hours, even days, off a project timeline. A great one can prevent costly mistakes before they happen, spotting unstable ground before a collapse, maneuvering with millimeter precision to protect workers and structures, and adjusting on the fly to keep a site running smoothly. So perhaps it's time we found a title that really reflects their true expertise. Because like the bucket teeth under the control of a good operator, the term digger driver barely scratches the surface. And without them, the entire operation would grind to a halt.